Watch this. Take cover.
Oh.
Watch this.
Good evening, Interworld. This is Sergeant Slack here from Banana One Productions, back in World of Warcraft. We are just buffing up before Yor'sahj the Unsleeping. So in this fight, I wanted to talk a little bit about key binding, because I was a clicker for the first good few years when I played World of Warcraft. I was a clicker, and I didn't see any problem with being a clicker, and that was all kind of how it went. But now, I've found, especially with healing, if I want to heal quickly and be an effective healer, I mean, you can do it without, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to. You can do it without, but it's just a hell of a lot easier. And it lightens the road. So I'm going to run you through basically what I've got, what I'm using at the moment, while I stick my debuff on this guy, because there's no other druids. Yeah, so I'm using my focus target. I've got Veradrin, the main tank, is my focus target, and he is on shift. So if I've got someone else selected and I press shift and one of my heals, then it ends up on him. So oh yeah, phase 2 of this boss, you've got to stack up and just bring in all the heals. So one of my other keybinds is alt. Alt is self-cast, so if I cast anything. So this means that whoever I've got selected, whatever's going on, I can be focusing my heals on the tank, so I can stack them up while I've got myself selected. I can stick heals on whoever needs them. God damn, that's loud. This is a barrage of pain. So I can stick heals on whoever I want while still being able to straight away get off a heal on the tank. Now this would work if you're a clicker as well. Straight away, I mean, I don't need to select the tank. I can be selecting cut pillow over here, and with using my focus, I can select him. Now you set focus. I've got Control F keybind to set focus, which I think is the default, but I'm not sure. So that means I can quickly get heals on the tank, who I'm responsible for, doing a bit of off healing. Myself, which is always important if you notice you're about to die, and I can be clicking around on all the rest of my group. Now this thing down at the bottom here is the raid frames. I don't use any mods. This is all stuff in the game. Oh, we've got Mana Void coming up in this one, which is kind of nasty, because as it sounds like, it sucks up all your mana and doesn't leave you with much to work with. See, by now I'm down to my tiny heals. My tiny heals that don't do anything. So I can do that. I can select that guy. Now yeah, the raid frame. Now this is just a little thing that tells you everyone's health and stuff. It didn't used to be in the game back in like BC. Oh, we got full mana again, no wonder. So I just have to pay attention a second here, so make sure nobody dies. I'm gonna heal you, gonna heal you, gonna throw a blanket heal down on everyone with wild growth. A little bit more of you. Good, that was alright. So chill out for a sec, get my mana back, fairy fires, refresh it. Good, so I've not been playing WoW for a while, so I barely remember what all my heals are. I remember what they do, I just don't remember what they're called. We've got Rejuvenation, which is nice hot. We've got Life Bloom, which is good to keep stacked on your on one of your tanks. That's why I've got my tank focus, so I can just stack them on whenever. And I've got Regrowth and Wild Growth, which is another blanket heal. So they're the ones I use the most, so they're all key bound. I've actually got Life Bloom on my mouse. Well, I've also got Swiftwind as well, which turns a Rejuve. If I stick a Rejuve on Hunter Hell, and then Mana Void. Then I've got all those bound to good locations, where they're eminently usable, and I can whip them out quickly if, say, I'm recording a video and talking too much and not paying attention to what's going on. So good time to... No. Oh, we got mana back anyway. Good. So you'll notice I'm using mainly regrowth and I'm not focusing on rehealing. I'm also using wild growth quite a lot because when that was being glyphed, it hits 6 people. And yeah, it's a nice powerful heal because it puts a hot on as well as your instant heal. So it does make quite a difference. How am I doing for that? I'll save my innovate. I generally save my innovate to when I'm sort of like 2/3 used up on my mana, so 1/3 remaining. And yeah, I find that that's the most helpful because now they've added, of course, that you get reduced mana cost on your spells. Yes, it does give you a little bit of a healing boost. So it's really useful for that. Have to pay attention as we enter phase 4, whatever this is, because there's a lot of damage used up and we've got a mana void up as well. So it's a good job that I saved my tranquility because we may well be about to need it. Also, as well as healing, I'm also using things like bark skin because I notice I'm being focused by a forgotten one. So anything you can do to take the load off healing really helps. If you're a disc player, disc priest, then you know this because half your healing actually comes from those kind of things. We've got mana back, so I'm going to drop tranquility. Breathe easy for a second. Tranquility is a powerful heal. I have got it talented so that it gives me a little bit more to work with, and yes, very useful. That is when I should have been using Innovate with that extra buff. It doesn't actually say on the tooltip, but I assure you it does definitely do that, or I completely imagined the whole thing and I've got no idea what I'm doing. So, focus bound tank. I've self-bound to alt, so like rejuve. I mean, you can see a lot of my keybands. These two, Swift Mend is on one of my mouse buttons, and Life Bloom is on one of my extra other mouse buttons. So I can do those things basically while I'm moving around. I can throw on a lot of this stuff and still have mobility, which in a lot of fights is useful, especially in PvP. So you get away with being a non-clicker, with being a clicker more in PvE. Because there's not as much focus on movement as there is in PvP. And when there is a focus on movement, it's more like get out of the fire rather than you need to run around and do things while you're casting. So, I mean, obviously that's a bit of an oxymoron. That's not the right word, but you know. Hey, and the boss is down. Good. So that was raid frames and keybinds. I mean, I used to play with everyone's health bars on, like this, and this was how I used to do it, clicking between people, which I still use in PvP, but I find it's just much easier to use your raid frames. Now the difficult thing about damage, boo, leggings, no loot for me today. So yeah, the only one thing I will say about raid frames is it's very easy to bury your head in your bars, as it is with these bars down here. It's very easy to bury your head in them and forget what you're doing, forget to look up, and then you notice you are in the fire. So, thanks for joining us for Yor'sahj the Unsleeping, and we went through raid frames and a little bit of keybinds. Join us at the next boss. This is Sergeant Slack from Banana Bomb Productions saying, nice one guys, I'll catch you soon.